everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're back with another stationery video. You guys seem to love the ballpoint pens video that I made a few weeks back, where I basically bought all the 10 rupee ballpoint pens available around my house and tried them out, tested them, and just basically give you a first impression / review of what they felt like. So that's why I decided why not take another spin at it and try it with fountain pens this time. Fountain pens, as you know, have always been the symbol of luxury and class and elegance, right? So, and a lot of us during school and college did not ever get a chance to use it. So that's why I thought, why not buy a few brands and try them out and test them out and just let you know which one's the best and which one you should buy. Disclaimer, this is my first time actually using fountain pens, and I frankly did not even have the slightest idea how to put in the ink barrel before I shot this video. So yeah, I guess this is something you and I are going to do together. So let's get into it. There are basically two ways in which you can fill the ink in the pen. First of all, you can get these cartridges. They are available on Amazon or any other e-commerce site, and sometimes they even come with the pens, and they're very small, and thinner part is what will go towards the nib and the fatter part is towards the barrel of the pen. It's not messy at all, and you can just easily stick this part towards the nib, and there is like a small sharp area where it will fit in and the ink can flow through, and that's that. And you change out the cartridges every time the ink finishes. The other method is the piston pump method. Now that is very messy. It will need this ink bottle. Now these are very cheap. So compared to cartridges, obviously the piston ones will be way cheaper, because this much of ink bottle will come at only ₹20, and this will last you for like an entire year, even if you exclusively just write with fountain pens, right? So piston pumps look a little different. I'm going to insert a clip of me trying to fill in ink with one of the pens that I'm going to show today right here, and you can see what that looks like. And it's a very, very messy process, as demonstrated by my hands. Always keep something to clean up the area nearby. Today we don't have a lot of pens. We have 4 main pens. I'll introduce each of the brands and I will write something with it, and you will see the bleeding and the ghosting and how it flows and just like the consistency of the ink and everything, and like my opinions on it. So first up we have the Parker pen. Obviously it's a classic. The Parker ink pen, actually if you just see it, it does not look very different. It looks like a regular Parker pen, like a ball pen or something. It's very compact, it's lightweight, which is kind of unlike pens at this price range feel kind of heavy, because it's usually meant towards like a premium or like an executive class, and they just sign with it, so the pen's a little heavy to just signify class and elegance. But this pen here is pretty lightweight. Let's just see what it is like to write with. This is one of those pens which came with a cartridge of its own. Let's write with it. See if it's... Are you serious? Okay, yeah. But like almost no smudging. Wow, I was so surprised. I have noticed this, that with ball pens you kind of have to put a little bit of pressure in the beginning to write, but this ink literally flows out very, very smoothly. Let's see if there's any bleeding or ghosting. There's a little ghosting, very, very faint, but no bleeding. No bleeding for a pen which is full of ink and just like oozing out ink, and it flows so smoothly, but no bleeding at all. So this is amazing. Parker gets 2 thumbs up so far. So the next pen is this new brand called Jinhad by Shanghai, and I just came across it on Amazon. This one is one of the pens which had a piston pump, and I used the Camlin ink to fill this with. And both of the pens which have the piston pump, I use Camlin ink just for consistency. So let's try what this feels like. Wow. I'm going to let that dry a little bit, but Wow, the ink flow is phenomenal. And I think this nib is a little bit thicker than the Parker one. Parker one's lines were very, very fine, and these lines are a little thicker than that. So it's not like a very micro tip or anything. And the ink is, it's of a different kind of blue, but it's a very, very beautiful color. And the ghosting is even less than there was with the Parker one, and there is no bleeding, and even the smudging was very, very less. So I am so impressed with these fountain pens, and I'm pretty sure I never use these only because I was scared of the mess they might make, but the way it feels to write with them is amazing. Moving on, we have Amazon Basics. They came with their Amazon Basics cartridges. It came in this box, and there are 2 more cartridges here, and there was 1 in the pen, so that's a pretty good deal, I would say. So here is the cartridge for this. Let's see what it writes like. Okay, the flow was a little stuttered. It didn't flow out as smoothly as the Jinhad or the Parker one did, but the good thing is it did not smudge, and the ghosting and bleeding were also barely any. Like a little bit of ghosting I can see, but there's no bleeding. This is also a micro tip kind of a nib like the Parker pen, and this is probably the only one which I have in black. The ink actually looks very similar to a regular gel pen ink. And let's move on to the next one. Next we have Camlin Elegante. I really like the barrel shape of it. I kind of feel like if you have a fountain pen, it needs to have a thicker barrel. The ink flows out so smoothly and so quickly that maybe a thicker barrel will help you, like, you know, balance the flow of the ink. This is what I think, because I always find it easier to write with thinner gel pens and ball pens. Maybe when you have a thicker barrel, the writing gets a little slow. It's also more comfortable to write with it. So I don't know. Let's test this out. The writing was a little stuttered in the beginning, but then it began to flow smoothly as I went along. This smudges a little bit, and I kind of feel like the nib is not as micro tip as the Parker pen, but it is sharper than the Jinhad pen. So that's the kind of strokes that you can expect from it. Let's test. There is no ghosting and bleeding. You know, I was really pleasantly surprised with all of these pens because they don't ghost and bleed at all, which was like my biggest worry. They do smudge a little, but that's kind of expected because I did not give it any time to dry up. I would definitely use these pens for like journaling, when I actually want to take the time to myself and just be calm and, you know, appreciate the beauty that can come out of this. My handwriting is not all that amazing, but I like to think that fountain pens make everything look more pretty and more elegant and more put together. So now that we've seen what these pens write like, there are a few parameters in which I want to compare all 4 of these pens. First of all, there's a clear distinction between the pens. On one side, we have the pens which came with a piston system, which we needed to fill with the Camlin ink. And on the other side, we have the pens which came with their own cartridges. Now, one kind is not necessarily better than the other. It all depends on the build of the pen and how the ink flows through it. Whether you want a piston or a cartridge system, that kind of comes down to 2 main things. First, how messy are you ready to be? Because yeah, the piston system gets kind of messy. Second, the cost of it all, right? Because all of these pens are under 400. The piston ones obviously do not come with any ink, and you have to buy another ink bottle. It comes at only 20 rupees for 60 ml. It's going to last you a very long time. And on the other hand, the cartridges come with 3 cartridges in the pack, which will also probably last you a very long time. So that's kind of, you have to decide how messy are you willing to get. Next, coming on to like the build of the pen and how they feel in the hands. I think the Parker or the Jinhad pen feel like any regular pen. The Jinhad is actually a little heavier than the Parker one, which was slightly surprising because Parker pens at this price point are known to feel a little heavy. But the Jinhad pen feels heavier and also writes like butter. If you're going with a thicker barrel pen, then I would suggest the Camlin Elegante one, because the Amazon Basics one, actually the ink is leaking within the barrel. So every time you open the cap, there is like black ink all over the place. So I am not really in favor of this. So yeah, if you're picking the thicker barrel one, then the Camlin Elegant definitely stands the test. I mean, yes, you have to fill in the ink, but this is also a Camlin ink. It goes really well with it. There will be no issues. Just like the first time you fill it, it's going to be a little bit of a mess. But other than that, there's no ink leaking, nothing. Feels great in the hand. You can write with it for a very long time. Thumbs up for this. So finally, which pen would I choose? If I was writing every single day with a fountain pen and I wanted to be sure that it's not going to mess up my pages, I would definitely go with the Parker one because it has a cartridge, it doesn't leak, it's good quality, it's lightweight. I can carry it everywhere without being really scared that it's going to mess up my entire bag or my whole notebook or anything like that. So it would definitely be the Parker one. That would be my top choice. It is kind of pricey. It is $375. It comes with the cartridges like this, and you can carry this everywhere and you never have to worry about not having enough ink, and you can buy the cartridges separately as well. So I think in terms of convenience, in terms of style, in terms of writing quality, all of this, Parker definitely stands the test for me, and this is the best fountain pen that you can use. If I was in school or college and I wanted something more affordable, then I would definitely go with the Camlin Elegant because it comes in at 200 rupees, which is also pretty steep for one pen. But given the fact that I can just buy this for 20 rupees and it would last me probably a whole year, and I can just like refill this any number of times, and the barrel is pretty sturdy, the ink is not leaking, it's kind of safe to carry it with me everywhere, this would be the pen of my choice. So that was the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed testing out all these fountain pens with me, and if you buy any of these, please let me know in the comments below which one you chose, and if you agree or disagree with my choice, then let me know that as well. See you next week. Bye.